I'm not even gonna say the baby name because I don't want them hurt. I really don't. But I just pray one day that all women wake up and realize you deserve better. No man should be able to treat you like shit and you stay. All because you want to save face for social media? What? Please, if you can hear my voice and if you're in a relationship and you faking it for social media, stop doing it.
Okay, that's the first one, y'all. And one of the things that really got to me about that clip in particular, I wish she would have elaborated on the things that were done to her kids because of him. I really wish she would have elaborated on that more. She did say that she would make her kids call Janelle to get him to come back. Like, oh my God. I literally told my audience the other day that I have a sister who is just like Brianna. Literally will put a man before her kids. And that's without even knowing that Miss Amora was going to come out and say that. But it's my biggest issue with them on that side is the fact that, you know, bump her, because she a grown woman at the end of the day. She might be 32, but she's a full grown woman. It's what happened with those kids. If you gonna be quiet, at least be loud for the kids. That's what would have really pushed me to speak up, because those kids was being affected and still are. And the fact that it's still women on that side that's keeping quiet that knows about this is even crazier. I can't respect that. I can't respect that at all. My conscience and my morals and my integrity would have never let me sit quiet that long. I just can't do it. I'm sorry.
Listen, Pot. You know, I told you I got off the saga. You did a great job, even just continuing it. Because I'll be honest with you, like literally, you are the one that will pop up on my feed from time to time, and so I think your content is hilarious. All right, you're so silly and beautiful at the same time. So, you can't help but just like click in and be like, what Pac talking about, But we just, I kind of separated myself like many people did. You know what I mean? I just truly had believed that God was going to bring it to an end. And this was the year of reveal, of exposure. And we saw all of those things happen. And so I wasn't even touching this, but here you go, Pac, on my timeline, going down my little YouTube that I barely get on, and you were touching on it, and I saw some things that she was saying, or that Amore was going live about this thing, and so I had to get in another account because I had blocked her from Trigger Preacher, and I had to get another account and hear this for myself, and when I tell you, I was boiling. I was hot. And I had to evaluate why was I so hot. And if y'all don't know, I reached out to Lupac like, I'm hot, sis. Like, really? One of the things I think that really made me hot was that I'm a big component of good versus evil. And one thing that made me hot was I need y'all to catch something, the deception. I want y'all to understand deception, because that's what we were saying in the beginning. There were people on that side that believed the deception. And I commend Amore for coming out saying that, because it takes a lot to come back and say, I was deceptive, I was manipulative, I lied, I took the photos. I mean, I wrote a list of things she said down. The fact that she said, I took a photo that Bree sent to me. I took these photos and we pushed them all together to create the deception that it was Robert that did it. And one thing that I did not like about it is that she said that she didn't want to excuse Robert because there was a scratch on Bree, but watch the differences in the scratches. The scratch from Robert came from his watch. The scratch from the Janelle guy came from, so-called allegedly, from his hand. And so for me, just watching the deception, and for those who was not deceived, pat yourself on the back, because that's the world we're living in. We're living in a very deceptive world. And what you saw happen is why so many men end up in prison. And I commend those people who advocate for domestic violence survivors, but I am an advocate for men who are abused by women secretly. So I advocate on the other end for the men that is abused and that is lied on by things like this, by simple things like this. And what I did not like, Sis Lupac, was that grace was given to Bree for her to be a victim of abusers and for her to be a person who may have took on the ways of her abuser. And grace was given to her. But grace was not so-called given to all the men who was allegedly supposed to be the abuser. And that's the problem that I have even in our Christianity walk or our discipleship walk, is that grace is given to everybody. Grace is given to everybody, because just like Brianna could have been displaying some of her actions from previous abusers, men display their actions from previous abuse that happens in their life. And so we can't give one person grace without giving the other person's grace. And so when I looked at this thing, there is so much healing that has to take place, not just in Brianna, but every woman who followed the lie, because there was something boiling up in that woman that wanted that lie to be true. So there is something that was boiling up in even a more to be able to do something. I'm not going to excuse the more. She needs to be healed too. She has to go through healing too. And the reason why my first video went viral about actual Bree at the time, because I was on my own personal healing journey and I had to take accountability for my actions and past relationships that I have contributed to those relationships being sour. And